Welcome, Faten. We've got Faten here. She's a committee member of Palestinian Christians in Australia, and we're going to talk about your experience of being a Palestinian Christian and living in Australia as well, born in Australia. Let's start talking about you, Faten. How did your parents end up in Australia?
So my parents came to Melbourne in 1990. There was the Intifada in the town they were living in at the time. It was Bejala. What is Bejala? And I was born here the same year that they arrived. And so growing up, they always instilled the culture in me. Always told me I was Palestinian. I had gone to events where I wore the thorb, and I had, I'd have Palestinian dishes at home. I actually didn't know how to speak English until I went to kindergarten. I learned English in kindergarten because they really wanted to instill that in me. And then I'd always heard about Palestine, but never went. The first time I remember going, I was 8, and for me, it was fun. I met my cousins, I met my grandparents, I met my aunties and uncles. It was just an enjoyable side I had to me, until I got a bit older and I started to understand that, as proud of it as I am, it actually makes me very different. And I'm proud of being different, but it was a really shock to the system when I found out that being Palestinian is probably not the most fun thing to be in some areas.
Yes, it is not fun.
That I'd gone to Catholic school growing up, so the Christian part of me was never the issue. And even then, the Palestinian part wasn't either, because I came from where Jesus was born. So I'd always surrounded myself with quite like-minded people. So I never felt that and I still feel up until now, I surround myself with this innocence about Palestine, because Palestine to me is my family. It's not political. It's not where problems happen. Yes, I'm restricted there, but it's still where my family is.
So growing up, you've gone to Palestine, you came back. Did you share your experiences with people about, where Bejala is, how it was for you when you went?
Yeah, so as a child, it was just a holiday for me. That was lots of fun. And then as an adult, because my parents actually gave me the Palestinian ID and now I have a Palestinian passport, I travel like a Palestinian to get to Palestine. So I have to go to Jordan, I have to cross the border, I have to do all the paperwork. It's crazy, it's a nightmare, it's exhausting, but it's my story, and it's like it sounds really bad, but it's like a novelty, but maybe because I'm not doing it all the time. Yeah. But it's a novelty I get to share here, and it's my experience of how much Palestinians actually struggle. Because you can hear it on the news, but when it happens to someone, like if I was telling a friend of mine, to them, I'm an Australian. I grew up with them. I don't have an accent. So to know that a fellow Australian struggled because they were looked upon differently is a way to show them that we are treated a little subclass.
When you cross the border through Jordan, how long does it take you to get there?
It's gotten better over time. When I was a kid, it would take like over 12 hours. I remember at one time they stopped the bus for some unknown reason. Now, I reckon I can make there in like 5 hours on a good day. On a good day. Yeah. Depends on how things go.
Who's manning the borders?
Yeah, but actually I've been through the VIP, not that special. Really not that special. And you still have to go through the same process. You just get to sit in an air-conditioned room while you wait instead of on a hot bus.
So when people ask you, well, where do you come from? You know, because you know your looks, I suppose, give it away. When
Yes.
you're in Australia, when people ask you where do you come from, what do you tell them?
Not just my looks, my name, Faten, is just
Your name, that's correct. Yes.
It depends who asks me, to be honest, and it depends on the tone of voice that they're asking it in, because some people I find can come across really condescending. So when people ask me, what nationality are you? If it sounds like they're going to judge me for it, I will tell them I'm Australian. And then I say, oh, no. I mean, where are your parents from? And then I'll tell them Palestine. And then some people are curious and intrigued, and other people want to talk politics.
So, what you joined Palestinian Christians in Australia as one of our youngest members. What's your vision for our community, and what do you want to do with the social media that you started?
Well, I'm hoping that because this opportunity came to me and I was a bit doubtful and unsure, and speaking to you helped me understand that my experiences growing up are disjointed but also appreciated by other people, because I really felt a bit alone growing up, and all I had were my cousins that were also Palestinian. We had some family friends, but we lived on the other side of Melbourne, didn't get to see them often. And as we grew up, we lost touch because we always relied on our parents when the parents would go visiting. So if I had more people that understood the disconnect, but also connection that we struggle internally, that would have been amazing. Even I got married a few months ago, and my husband is Palestinian from the same village that my parents are from, born here. I knew his parents, I never knew him, but we can bond over the most not insignificant, but the most minute things because we share the same culture. I never had to explain to him that we couldn't go on holiday together until we got married. I don't have to worry that when we sit.
You can't move in together until you get married.
That when we're in family discussions, I don't have to stop and translate things for him.
That's a bonus.
He understands all the jokes. He understands my upbringing in Australia and primary school and camps and things like that. But he will also understand that this is my favorite place to get falafel from when I go to Palestine. I'm so excited to go back to Palestine with him because it's and people in Beit Jala were so excited that we were getting married because they're like, it's two of us, like one of us has found each other, and I can't wait for him to be able to communicate to my family over there. I don't have to worry about him, and I can do the same, and he won't have to worry about me. So it's this comfort in familiarity as well. So I found it in my husband, but I hope that our young people can find it in each other, this comfort where I know exactly what you're talking about and you don't have to use the words.
Yes, and you don't have to explain or translate. You don't have
to say anything.
Yes.
Yeah. Or, knowing that, sorry, I can't eat meat where it's fasting because it's, Easter's coming up, whatever. And knowing that when we do have Easter, the Holy Week, it's 7 days, but there's like 11 liturgies that you can go to. And that's the special side of being Christian as well. We take our faith intensely seriously. And I find even more so because in Australia, we are so proud of the fact that our faith came from where our parents came from.
Where we were born.
Where we were born, that's right. Like, we don't take it for granted.
That's right.
And we represent...
You look around all these people who are Christian anywhere around the world, and you know that they're indebted to us because our ancestors converted them.
Yeah, I feel like we are representing it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you
So
want to make them proud.
your vision for the social media, what is it going to be?
Well, I'm hoping that we can use it as a platform to join our two cultures together, whether you bring Palestine into Australia and you have, I have headbands that have tatreez on them, the Palestinian tapestry on them. And that's a way I can bring in the most simplest way, or even lunch or dinner, like I have za'atar for lunch and bring it to work, or I share my Palestinian food with my friends at work, or even when I go to their jala, I might bring something Australian with me, whether it's Tim Tams or Vegemite. So it's about joining the two cultures together, sharing that on social media, and making it sense of normality, and also showcasing the talents that our Palestinian Christians do have, and knowing that we can break through stereotypes and be super successful at what we do and not have to hide who we are in the process.
Great to have you on, Faten.